So we are done with symmetric encipherment. So let's proceed to the next topic. So this is the third part of the fourth module, so which is concerned with DES and AES. So the first we'll study is DES. So it stands for Data Encryption Standard. So let's see what it is. So the Data Encryption Standard, DES abbreviation, it is also called as Data Encryption Algorithm, is a symmetric key block cipher. So remember, it is a symmetric key, means whatever key is used for encryption, the same key is used while decryption, and it is a type of block cipher, right? Means what is happening, the plain text is divided into number of blocks, right? So, and it is published by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. So how it came into being, just a history. So in 1973, NIST published a request for proposals, which is nothing but RFP, for a national symmetric key crypto system. So obviously they required more security for data in computers when data is in transit. So they asked for RFP. So the proposal from IBM, which was a modification of a project called Lucifer, was accepted as DES. So DES was published in the Federal Register in March 1975 as a draft of FIPS. Okay, so actually this is the brainchild of IBM, we can say, DES standard. So what is DES? As I said, it is a block cipher, right? And how it works as a block cipher? So it encrypts the data in blocks of 64 bits each. Remember, it doesn't mean that the data it can work on is only 64 bits. Yes, it will work only on 64 bits, but it will be a continuous stream of data coming. So your data can be of 1 lakh bits also, but it will divide it into first block 64, then it will send it further in the encryption algorithm, then it will take next 64, then it will send that further, then next 64, and so on. So it can work on a huge amounts of data. So it encrypts data in blocks of 64 bits each. Means what? The 64 bits of plain text goes as the input to DES, which produces 64 bits of ciphertext. Now this is a very famous question. Usually from DES and AES, usually one question is asked for 10 marks. So you don't have to refer any book, you just refer these PPTs, they will be more than enough. So I have designed the PPT in such a way that you don't have to refer any book. Okay. So as I said, it encrypts data into blocks of 64 bits each, and that is 64 bits of plain text goes as the input to DES, which produces 64 bits of ciphertext. So the same algorithm and key are used for encryption and decryption. And what is the key length? This is what the input data, and key is different, right? So key length is what? 56 bits. So how does it work conceptually? That is shown diagrammatically here. So you can easily understand, this is the DES algorithm. The input is 64-bit plain text, and it is having a key as 56-bit key. So these two act as the input to the encryption algorithm, and what it spits out the output as 64-bit ciphertext. So like this, it is what? A block cipher, right? It is a block cipher. So like this, you can have many blocks: block 1, block 2, ... block n. So this is the conceptual working of DES. So you can always, so you will see in this PPT there are many diagrams. So what would I suggest is, if there are, for example, 10 minutes in the exam and you have to answer this question, don't write this text. So you just mention at the start, DES is a block cipher, it works in the following way. Then you just write all these diagrams which come, because a picture speaks more than 1,000 words. From that, what will happen? The examiner will come to know that you know the algorithm, but you don't have time to read. So you'll score at least 7-8 marks, if not the full 10 marks. Okay, so this is the conceptual working of DES. Okay, so what are the basic principles underlying DES? So what we have mentioned, that DES uses a 56-bit key, right? But this is not the case if you speak truly. The initial key actually consists of 64 bits. Okay, so how is it converted to 56 bits then? Before DES process even starts, every bit of the key is discarded to produce a 56-bit key. Okay, so means what? If I go to the previous slide, here I get a 56-bit key, but actually before this 56-bit key, it is a 64-bit key. Okay, so how it is produced? It is produced by discarding the bit numbers 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56 and 64 by discarding these bits. So we have a original 64-bit key, again we have a picture, remember. Then a key discarding process is done, and from that key discarding process, this 8 bits, if you count, these are 8 bits, these 8 bits are discarded. So 64 minus 8 is what? 56. So we get a resulting 56 bit key. Okay. So let's see on what principle the DES works. So it works on the principle of substitution and transposition. This is what we saw in the last two lectures, right? So DES is based on two fundamental attributes of cryptography. And what is cryptography? It is secret writing. So fundamental attributes of cryptography are what? Substitution. It is also called as confusion. Means you are confusing the attacker which is trying to attack the data. Because what we are doing, we are substituting the, for example, we have monoalphabetic and polyalphabetic ciphers, right? So we are substituting the symbol for the other symbols. We are confusing the attacker. And transposition is also used, which is also called as diffusion. Means we are juggling the data. So that is diffusion. So DES consists of 16 steps, each of which is called a round. So again, DES consists of 16 steps. Each step is called as a round. So there are 16 rounds, we can see. And each round performs the steps of substitution and transposition. Okay, so let's see them one by one. So DES is a very huge algorithm. So that's why it is divided into steps to understand. So these are called as the broad level steps in DES. So there are 6 steps. So first step, we have the plain text which is of 64 bits. So what is done? It is given to us something called as initial permutation. So in the first step, the 64-bit plain text block is handed over to an initial permutation function. So that is what I said, right? So whatever I am saying, that is just written here. So again, you don't have to buy at this. Just understand this diagram, draw it in the exam, and just write it down in your own words. So next, what is happening? The initial permutation is performed on the plain text, right? Because this is derived from the this permutation table is derived from the plain text, right? So from this, what we get? A 64-bit output, right? So the initial permutation produces 2 halves of the permuted block. Means we got the 64-bit output. It is divided into 2 halves, which is LPT and RPT. What does it stand for? Left plain text block and right plain text block, right? Now each of the LPT and RPT go through 16 rounds. Remember, each goes separately. So RPT has 16 rounds and LPT has 16 rounds, right? Then in the end, LPT and RPT are rejoined and a Falion permutation is performed on them to get what? The final 64-bit ciphertext. And remember, each round has a key. Okay, it is clearly written here, each with its own key. So each round has its own key. So you can imagine what is the complexity of the algorithm. Okay, so that is why it is one of the most famous algorithms. Okay, so what is the first step then? So 64-bit plain text will obviously have. So let's directly jump to initial permutation. So what is done in initial permutation? What do you mean by permutation? Means changing the location of the bits. So this is what example of transposition, right? So bit position in the plain text block, how many bits we have? 64, right? So similarly, this will be of how many size? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 4 rows. So 16 by 4 size table we have. So 64 values corresponding to 64 bits. So how is it permuting? First bit is overwritten with the contents of 58-bit position. Then second bit is overwritten with the contents of 50th-bit position. Then third with 42 and so on. Okay, so that is what this table says. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4 is not written here. It is assumed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then this is 16. Then we come here 17, 18 and so on. So this is what IP table. Remember, you don't have to buy at these 2 tables. There is no need to draw these 2 tables. What you can just say that there is nothing but in the initial permutation, based on the initial standard initial permutation table, permutation is performed on the 64-bit plain text. This is more than enough. You don't have to buy at these values and table at all. Okay. So what is done here? The IP replaces the first bit of the original plain text block with the 50th bit of the original plain text block. The second bit with the 50th bit and so on. So this is nothing but what? Jugglery of bit positions of the original plain text block, which is nothing but, in simple words, layman language, it is transposition, right? So let's proceed further. So next is rounds. Why we went to rounds? Because after initial permutation, we are manually dividing it into 2 parts, right? So that is not a separate step. So next step is what? Rounds. So we go to rounds. So each of the 16 rounds in turn consist of the broad level steps outlined as shown. So apart from the broad level steps, we have further steps in each round. And remember, these steps are done 16 times because we have 16 rounds. So again, you can imagine the complexity of the algorithm. So what we saw that for each round 56-bit key is available, right? So what is done in key transformation, which is the first step in the rounds, that a different 48-bit subkey is generated during each round using a process called key transformation. So how is this achieved? That is from, so what was there, 64-bit key. From that we arrived at a 56-bit key. So this 56-bit key is given to the round. So from the round what is done, key transformation is happening. So that round, in the round first step is key transformation. So that converts the 56-bit key to a 48-bit subkey. So how it does it? The 56-bit key is divided into two halves. So half of this is 28. So each half is of 28 bits. Then these halves are circularly shifted left by 1 or 2 positions depending on the round. So if you have not understood this, you just refer this table. So how many rounds we have? 1 to 16. So what we do, if the round number is 1, 2, 9 or 16, the shift is done by only one position. So 1, 2, 9, 16, you see that number of key bits shifted is 1. And for other rounds the circular shift is done by 2 positions. This is what the third sentence is meaning. Okay. So if you want, you can just remember 1, 2, 9, 16, number of key bits shifted 1, rest all 2. This much you can remember. So that is not an issue. So then after an appropriate shift, what is done? 48 of the 56 bits are selected. Then the question is how the 48 are selected. Okay. So for that, for selecting 48 of the 56 bits, the table below, shown below is used. Okay. So for instance, after the shift, bit number 14 moves into the first position. So bit 14 moves in first position, 17 in second, 11 in third and so on. Okay. So if you observe, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is a 48, 12 by 4 size table, means there are 48 numbers here. So we don't have 56 numbers. So some numbers are missing. For example, if you see here 18 number is not there. Okay, so that term is directly discarded, right? So this is how we arrive at 48-bit key. Okay. And since the key transformation, what is it involving? It is involving permutation as well as it is involving selection of a 48-bit subset of the original 56-bit key. Means we are compressing the key. So it is also called as compression permutation. So you might get this question also in 5 marks. What is compression permutation associated with DS? So that is this answer. Okay. So now what you think about it? If you think about it, because of this compression permutation technique, a different subset of key bit is used in each round. So this we are talking about one round. This will be done for 16 different rounds. So that makes DES more difficult to crack. So as from start only I am saying, you can imagine the complexity of the algorithm. So next step for after key transformation is expansion permutation. So what happens in expansion permutation? After the initial permutation, we had 32-bit plain text areas called LPT and RPT. So during expansion permutation, what is done? We take the RPT only. We are keeping the LPT as it is for now. So the RPT is expanded from 32 to 48 bits. So you can think why it is converted from 32 to 48 bits. Because here we are having a 48-bit subkey, right? So it is going to be used in conjunction with this. So that is why we are converting 32 bits to 48 bits. So besides increasing the bit size from 32 to 48, the bits are permuted as well. Hence the name what? Expansion permutation. So before we had a compression permutation. Now we have expansion permutation. Okay. So how is it achieved? That is how expansion permutation is achieved. So the 32-bit RPT is divided into 8 blocks. So 32 by 8 is 4. So each block is of 4 bits. So block 8, this is again shown with the help of a picture. So next, each 4-bit block of the above step is then expanded to a corresponding 6-bit block. That is how it is done. So I have the 8 4-bit blocks. Okay. So input block 1, input block 2, input block 3 and so on. Okay. Each is of 4 bits. So I write them 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, dash, dash, 29, 30, 31, 32. This should be actually 88. Okay. So what I do, I take the 4 bits as it is. Then what I do, I take the last bit of the last block and append it here. So that becomes my first bit of the 6-bit block. Then how I get the 6th bit? I take it from the next block, the first bit of the next block. So similarly for this, first bit will be what? Last bit of the previous block. So similarly last bit of the previous block comes here, and this is how I generate 6 bits from each 4-bit block. So clearly this process results into expansion as well as permutation of the input bits while creating the output. So this diagram makes it very simple to understand. So what you have to do, just explain this diagram. Okay. So as we have seen, firstly the key transformation process, what it does, compresses the 56-bit key to 48 bits. Then the expansion permutation process expands the 32-bit RPT to 48 bits. So now the 48B is XORed, 48-bit key. So I have the 48-bit key from the key transformation. It is XORed with the 48-bit RPT. So I have the 48-bit RPT from the expansion permutation. And the resulting output is given to the next step, which is what? S-box substitution. So if you see again here in the steps for rounds, I have S-box substitution as the next step. Then I have P-box permutation and finally XOR and swap. We are done with this. So let's see what is S-box substitution. So S-box substitution is a process that accepts the 48-bit input from the XOR operation involving the compressed key and expanded RPT and produces a 32-bit output using the substitution technique. So what were the inputs? 48 bits. So again it is generating 32 bits. So the question is how it generates 32 bits. So that we'll see further. So the substitution is performed how? Depending on 8 substitution boxes which are standard given by the DES algorithm. So each of the 8 S boxes has a 6-bit input and a 4-bit output. So I'll not read this because many of you won't get it. So I'll directly jump to this diagram. So this diagram is just explained here. Okay. So what is happening? I have a 48-bit input block. How will I get 48-bit input block? From here, right? Because these two are 48 bits. So after XORing, I will get what? 48-bit output. So that is acting as input to the S boxes, right? So I divide that 48-bit input block into 6-bit subblocks. So how many blocks I'll have? 8 by 6. So 6 8s are 48. So I'll have 8 subblocks, right? So those 6-bit subblocks act as input to the 8 subboxes, S boxes. So, and they give the again 4-bit output. So 4 8s are 32. So I'll have what output as 32-bit output block, right? So again the question is how 6 bits are converted to 4 bits, right? So the 6-bit input indicates which row and column and therefore which intersection is to be selected and thus determines the 4-bit output. Now you might not understand what is written. So you count these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, right? So I have 16 columns and 4 rows, right? So let's go to the next slide. So I have the 6-bit subblock, right? I have the 6-bit input to the S box. This is my X box. So I have the 6-bit input. So this is the X box table, 16 columns and 4 rows. So I have to, so how from the 6-bit, what I do, I select one of the intersection of row and column gives me the number. So that is what is said here. I have 6-bit input, so I divide it like this. So middle 4 bits give me the 4-bit column number. So now this is 4 bits, so maximum number will be what? 15, right? 0 to 15. So total 16 numbers. So that column number will be given here, right? So next, take this bit and this bit. This will give me 2-bit row number. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So name this as 0, 1, 2, 3, and this is 0, 1, 2, 3. Finally, this will be 15. So that column and row will intersect only on one of the numbers, right? For example, 11, right? So that is my 4-bit output is 11, right? Obviously in binary, right? So similarly, I will do for all the 8 X boxes, right? So this is S box substitution. So again, you just explain this in your own words. Remember, I have not read this. I have just seen the diagram and explained it to you. So next, I have P box permutation. So what is done in P box permutation? The output of S box consists of how many bits? 32 bits, right? So these 32 bits are permuted using a P box. So this straightforward permutation mechanism involves simple permutation. Means what? Just juggling of the bits. So this is called as what? P box permutation, right? And how does it perform it? It performs using this. So these are 32 numbers, right? So 16 by 2 size box it is, so it will work on 32 bits. So it will permute based on this table. Okay. So again, it is a standard table, you don't have to buy at it. So what we had done, so if you remember, we had taken this 32-bit RPT block and performed key transformation, expansion permutation, S box substitution and P box permutation, right? So and we have so far not touched the LPT block. So that's what is written here. Note that we have been performing all these operations only on the 32-bit RPT. The LPT was untouched so far. So what is done? That this output, the output of P box permutation is taken, and 32-bit LPT which is left untouched so far is taken, and they are XORed, and that XOR output is the new RPT. Why I require new RPT? Because this is only one round. I have total 16 rounds. So this 32 RPT block acts as the RPT for next round, as the input for the next round, right? But I'll require LPT also again with this 32-bit RPT. So this RPT becomes my new LPT, right? So that is what is written here. So what I am doing, I am XORing and swapping the LPT with the RPT. Okay, that's why the process is XOR and swap. So then finally what we have done, we are done with rounds, right? So if you observe the broad level steps, if I am done with the rounds, what is the next step? Final permutation, right? So I am going stepwise. So at the end of 16 rounds, the final permutation is performed, and it is performed only once. So this is a simple transposition based on Bigelow table. So you see it is a combination of substitution and transposition. This is transposition and we used S-box substitution, right? So that is substitution example. So the output of the final permutation is the 64-bit encrypted block. So this is our final encrypted text, right? So this is the final permutation table which is used for the first sentence. So again, you don't have to buy it. So next, once we have encrypted it, so from the 64-bit plain text we have got the 64-bit encrypted text, right? So next question obvious is how to decrypt it. So now many would think that this process is so complicated to encrypt, right? But if you think about it, it is actually very simple to decrypt, right? Because the values of various tables and operations as well as the sequence are so carefully chosen by IBM that the algorithm is reversible. So what we do, the only difference between the encryption and decryption process is the reversal of key portions. We have 16 rounds, right? So as I said, there are 16 different keys. So if the original key was divided into K1 to K16 for the 16 encryption rounds, then for decryption the key should be used as K16 to K1. So that is the only difference we have to use for decryption. So as we are using the same key again, right? So this is what symmetric key algorithm, okay? So we'll do the next thing in the next lecture. So we'll stop here.